This week's parashat is an interesting reading, one that will adjust you no matter who you are. The Torah portion, Ekev, or consequences. It is the 46th reading from the Torah, and the third reading from the book of Deuteronomy. Let's begin with chapter 8. All the mitzvot I am giving you today, you are to take care to obey, so that you will live, increase your number, enter and take possession of the land Elohim swore about to your ancestors. You are to remember everything in the way which Elohim led you these 40 years in the desert, humbling and testing you in order to know what was in your heart, whether you would obey his mitzvot or not. He humbled you, allowing you to become hungry, and then fed you with manna, which neither you nor your ancestors had ever known, to make you understand that a person does not live by food alone, but on everything that comes from the mouth of Elohim. During these 40 years, the clothing you were wearing did not grow old, and your feet did not swell up. Think deeply on it. Elohim was discipling you, just as a man disciples his child. So obey the mitzvot of Elohim, your Elohai, living as he directs and fearing him, for Elohim, your God, is bringing you to a good land, a land with streams, springs, and water, welling up from the depths in the valleys, on the hillsides. It's a land of wheat and barley, grapevines, fig trees, and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land where you will eat food in abundance and lack nothing in it, a land where the stones contain iron and the hills can be mined for copper, so you will eat and be satisfied. And you will bless Elohim, your God, for the good land he is giving you. Elohim had the people on a journey. For 40 years their clothes did not wear out. For 40 years their feet did not swell up, and they feasted on manna. Manna, when you break down the chemical composition, becomes whatever you want it to become. Meaning, it's like tofu, but it's like a cracker. But when you break down the chemical compositions of it, which you can, it has everything that you would need to sustain yourself for one day. You would not overeat, you would not undereat, but you would have the right vitamins to sustain yourself. Elohim is your sustenance. He is your everything. Are you sure of that? Are you making him your all, or are you doing things your way, putting some idol, putting something else before you, and not considering Elohim? Verse 11 reads, be careful not to forget Elohim, your Elohai, by not obeying his mitzvot, rulings, and regulations that I am giving you today. Otherwise, after you have eaten and been satisfied, built fine houses and lived in them, and increased your herds, flocks, silver, gold, and everything else you own, you will become proud-hearted, forgetting Elohim, your Elohai, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, where you lived as slaves, who led you through the vast, fearsome desert, with its poisonous snakes, scorpions, and waterless, thirsty ground, who brought you water out of flint rock, who fed you in the desert with manna, unknown to your ancestors, all the while humbling and testing you, in order that you do your good in the end. Will you think to yourself, my own power and strength of my own hand have gotten me this wealth? No! You are to remember Elohim, your Elohai, because it is he who is giving you the power to get wealth in order to confirm his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors, as is happening every day. If you forget Elohim, your Elohai, follow other gods, and serve and worship them, I am warning you in advance today that you will certainly perish. You will perish just like the nations of Elohim is causing to perish ahead of you, because you will not have heeded the voice of Elohim, your Elohai. Are you obeying Elohim in everything? Are you obeying him in what you're doing? Are you obeying him in what he's telling you to do? Or are you listening to idols? Are you putting something before him? Are you hearing something before him? Or are you hearing his voice clearly. Be careful not to forget Elohim, your Elohai, by not obeying his mitzvot, rulings, and regulations that I am giving you today. Otherwise, after you have eaten and been satisfied, sated, built fine houses and lived in them, and increased your herds, flocks, silver, gold, and everything else you own, you will become proud-hearted, forgetting Elohim, your Elohai, who brought you out of Egypt, where you lived as slaves, who led you through the vast and fearsome desert with its poisonous snakes, scorpions, thirsty ground, who brought water out of flint rock for you, who fed you in the desert with manna, unknown to your ancestors, all the while humbling and testing you in order to do you good in the end. You will think to yourself, my own power and strength of my own hand have gotten me this wealth. No, you are to remember Elohim, your Elohai, because it is he who is giving you the power to get wealth in order to confirm his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors, as is happening every day. If you forget Elohim, your Elohai, follow other gods and serve and worship them, I am warning you in advance today. You will certainly perish. You will perish just like your ancestors that Elohim is causing to perish ahead of you, because you will not heed the voice of Elohim, your Elohai. Is everything you do dedicated to Elohim? Do you do what you do dedicated to Elohim, or do you do what you do for the glory of personal gods? Why do you do it? Why do you go through it? Is Elohim leading you in a specific way to complete certain things, or are you caught up in your own life, in your own cycle, in doing your own thing? Think before you act before you think, act before you move. Because if you are not dedicating every move to Elohim, who are you dedicating these moves to? And what is the purpose of doing it anyway? If you are not doing it for Elohim, be conscious. Go to faithnetwork.com, like, share, and subscribe to this information. And continue to be blessed.